everyone, and welcome to the Monomyth Diaries, a podcast where ordinary people get to share their hero's journey. I'm Mandi.
And I'm Karen, and we'll be your hosts.
We'll discover powerful insights, critical moments of growth, and much more.
Thanks for joining us. We all have a monomyth to share, and someone out there needs to hear it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Monomyth Diaries, where it's take what you like and leave the rest podcast.
In Donnell's second episode, we explored his profound transformation that followed his breaking point in prison and learning to embrace the ups and downs of being obedient to something bigger than himself.
You probably noticed that Donnell's an incredibly animated storyteller. He has a way of making you feel every word of his journey. So we really recommend that you check out Donnell's 3 episodes on YouTube, where you can really feel the full impact.
As we told you, we're going to talk about the boons today, the gifts and the benefits.
Okay.
We're going to give you the floor.
Man. Since I should have studied.
No, seriously, we just left off with you have just founded your church 5 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Let's back up.
Okay.
To understand the gifts and the benefits of where we're at, say 5 weeks. Right.
Yeah.
So when we decided to plant a church, there's a lot you don't realize that takes place to plant a church. So it's a 501c3, so it is a corporation. You got to jump through a bunch more hoops to be a nonprofit on the IRS level, and they want all churches to do it. Then you have to get people to believe in your vision, and then sow financially into the church to make it happen.
Yes.
So, and we decided to do this in an election year, in one of the most divided seasons of America. One of the wins, one of the boons is resilience.
Yeah.
Because as we did this, we had to believe God. So we saved money, I stopped doing real estate. So one income, gone. And as I've talked to pastors, and I talked to community leaders, and I talked to people who had a heart for Christ and a heart to give and to do these things. And some were yes, and some were no, and some were big yeses. It built this resilience to see what God is going to do, right? I want to see the fruit of this. But I did oh my gosh. I remember crying to one of my overseers during the launch phase. And he said, "No, why are you crying? You're doing good. You're doing great." I haven't led anyone to Christ. I'm traveling and I'm speaking at churches and I'm doing all this for money. Literally for money. And I was, I wanted to just no, I just want to evangelize and do this thing. And God just said, just hold on. Just hold on. And so we did, right? And so it built a financial resilience in us as a church. And one great thing about our church is that because of that resilience and the tenacity and the honoring God, our church is probably, for its size and age, one of the most financial sound churches that have planted in 2025. I would say easy, if not the most financially sound.
Wow.
No credit. We pay everything cash. All our stuff is we pay cash for it. So there's no looming bills or, you have your small stuff, but it really, we're able to give back immediately. VNA says something we do at the church is when we pass the buckets, we tell people, if you need money today, you take from the bucket.
Wow.
That's just as much your money as it is our money. That's the church will provide. And if you need today, you take it. And because of that, and because we've made some sound decisions, because we've been resilient and focused on finances, we can do that. And we've now, for our 5 weeks, I count January. So we are already made our budget for the 2 months, and we still have 2 weeks in February, February's budget, right? That's kind of business stuff, right? You're man, God built this thing from the ground up. Man, I had no money. I barely had, man, you know how much I'm paying childcare? Man, you want to move to Houston, get out of Cade, man. I mean, I can get a cheaper child care around here. No, but no, I say that is that I just look because we built this thing. I wasn't taking a salary, none of that, and God built it, and to see the health and the operational side and the financial side of the business of church. Because I'm never gonna lie to people. We're open books. People can see our books. I use an accounting firm. It ain't just me on my table with some bills. You know what I'm saying? I got on one of those like money green hats and an accounting machine counting people's money. You know what I'm saying? I think some people believe that, right? But it's one of our greatest things is that we're financially sound, healthy, and accountable, right? But I say all that. That's the business part, right? I had to raise money in the worst time, right? I didn't get to lead anybody to Christ. So launch Sunday. That is like 2 years of work, 2 years of praying, of crying, of growing for this one day. And there's still possibility. And it's a freeze in Houston. Let's just go there. Like, I'm like,
No.
And I remember crying, telling my wife, ain't no fish, I'm gonna show up. I was like, it's cold outside. And we go. And I get there first. And it's cold outside, so I got on a big old jacket and walking around the parking lot praying and crying. And then I just start seeing lights come in. And it's my team. And I'm looking, and there's 80 people just pull up like that. And they hop out, and they're like, we got this. And they give me hugs and encouragement. And they're going in, and they're doing their thing, and they're stopping, and they're just, every time they see me, they're stopping and giving me a hug. And I didn't grow up with a family. And all of a sudden, I have these 80 people that are like, man, we are here to chase this vision God gave you for your story, church. And we just want you to know, Pastor, that we appreciate you. We appreciate you, all that you're doing. I'm like, I ain't even doing nothing but standing here. Right? And it's funny, we joke, but the first fruit of the Spirit is love. And I believe that anything God wants it to happen, any reward you will get starts in love. You will first, if you want to know if it's God, is there love? If you want to know if it's from God, is there love? He is love.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
Like, and I was just like, if it's only these 80 people and we don't have anybody, and I tell all the volunteers to come in an auditorium and we do church with us 80 people, I have just got the best gift ever from God. Because I'm in the room with 80 people who love me and my family, who love Jesus. And it's crazy enough to come out in a storm. And it's probably the first, I don't want to say it's the first time, but it's the first time in this season of my life I can recognize God's uncut love, that agape love. Right? That love where you're just like, I don't deserve this. And I'm still like, people are loving me. God is using his people to love on me from him. And so that was so like, oh my gosh. So I remember I told you I wish I could sing, right?
Yeah.
And so this worship team takes flight. And people that came that were from different organizations that partner with us was like, bro, I can't believe this is your first Sunday. Like a team like this, what you got going on out here, the way your team is acting, and just like the not the accolades, but the people saw what God was doing in our team, right? And it's the love ultimately, right? But I had like a joy because I love worship. And we get to worship God, and it wasn't clunky, and it wasn't ugly, and it was, I'm just sorry. It was like, I've been to some clunky, ugly worship things, and it's like, and it wasn't those things. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, can this get any better? And I was just like, man, And then it's my turn. Right. And our sermon series for the first 3 weeks or 2 weeks was made for more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God, just use me for whatever you're going to use me for. So we do this message. And I assume I'm my worst critic, right? But I'm like, hey, I say this almost every Sunday, I'm not going to assume everybody in here knows Jesus. And I'm not going to assume everybody knows the Jesus we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, I want you to raise your hand. And that day, 28 people gave their life to Christ. Now, that's the 28 they could count. That don't count what I call T-Rex salvations.
Okay.
And the T-Rex salvations are those people that's like this. They don't want to be seen.
They're raising their hand, but not past the shoulder.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's just like T-Rex. It's like little T-Rex on me, right? And so, the win for me in my life right now are those 28. It's the 18 the next week. It's the 16 the week after that. It's the 12 the week after that. It's the 16 this week. Those are my boons. Those are my wins, because here's what's about to take place. We have 18 new believers in Jesus. Now we've positioned ourselves to walk with them and be family with them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you another. I'll just throw it in here. A win was like, how am I going to disciple these people now? Close the back door so the world don't get them, so the enemy don't get them. A church called me, and because they've been following us and they watched the impact in 5 weeks we had, they sent us another $5,000 check for our thing. Wow. But they sent us 100 copies of the book I want to use for discipleship. And so that's going to probably be enough. If we get 100 people in small groups, that means not only everybody that gave their life to Christ, who I will call personally and invite them to the group, not only them, but other members will be able to join our group, and we'll be able to provide the book. So it takes away any rope. I don't have the money to buy you. Don't worry about it. It's our gift to you. Wow. Right? And so look what happens so we're exponentially growing, not by numbers, but by spirits and stories and love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and gentleness. All these fruits, man, you're walking around a church and a group of people that are like exploding with these things God has for them. All my life I took from people. I was a consumer, right, of the worst kind, right? And now I get to be a contributor. I am pouring in and pouring out. I used to chase money. I used to chase cars. I used to chase all those things. I understand what Jesus said when he was at the well. You do not understand the food that I eat from. Mm-hmm. Because when doing God's will, the benefits, the boons, look so different than just a physical like win. Now we have an amazing physical win because I have an amazing team I get to hug on, and an amazing church I get to go look at, and all those great things. Yeah. But those wins, like a guy showed up in our baptisms. I knew him from like right when I got out of prison. He's a police officer now. He's getting married, and he like realized he wasn't saved. He comes on the end of he walks into the second service, gives his life to Christ. He comes to me and is like, will you baptize me today? I was like, bro, we got baptisms today. And I get to baptize this man, and I've met with him 3 times since then. And now all this stuff he was doing for selfish gain, God is about to start using and shifting and molding. He's about to start having a family. He's about to start doing things. And because he came, and because we were obedient, and because we opened our doors, and we prayed, and we believe in the Holy Spirit, and we believe in the baptism, and we believe in these things, this man's legacy for the rest of his life, his children's children will be blessed. Yeah. Remember I told you about that when you get to heaven, all the people? You look like them, man. Right? Like, oh, sorry. But like, and the crazy thing is, and so I get those things. Yeah. Right? I get to like go home and like, gosh, we have life change. We're doing the kingdom. We're doing some things, and it brings a joy because when I look right over next to me, my wife is sitting right there, right? And I get to watch her get up. My wife was like, I ain't getting on nobody's stage. You done lost your mind. I'm not really, I don't know who else gonna do. You want me to do it? She's like, no. I was like, well, there you go. But to watch her, and she's actually gonna speak Mother's Day.
Wow.
Mother's Day weekend. She's going to preach. And to see what God has done in her.
Yeah.
And to bring her up as a woman. And how can I say this? I don't want to offend any women. I'm saying this. No. Putting it out there. There's this big argument of women's place
Oh, yes.
in the church and what it looks like. And listen, I don't know what God got going on. That ain't my concern. My concern is being obedient. Because the boons is what you want, the wins. How are we affecting other people? And my wife had a time in her life that she didn't love God. Who would I be if I did not create a place and a platform for her to share what God has done? And now she leads and she's going to, I told her, my stories was like, I'm like the gas, like not even the gas. I'm like the one time the flint, like to start something. Yeah. And I told her, your story is what's gonna carry this thing. And the story behind that is mine just started this thing. I'm like the starter fluid or whatever it is, right? Yeah. But like
spark.
Yes. But she is so humble. And we talked last night and all the yelling and the screaming, she's like, I don't want, like, babe, she was like, I don't want to own nothing or lead it. I don't want, she's like, I don't care if anybody comes to me and asks me a question. I just want to do what God wants me to do and help support you change the world. And I was like, now my wife is moving in purpose. And for our sons, the twins, they get up and we go to church. And we read I don't have to tell them to go get their Bible. 7:30, they go get their Bible. We sit down and we read. But we were able to create it, whatever we ask our church to do, we will do in our home. So we pray together. Our children pray together. All my sons, what? My sons will be like, I'll forget to pray. They'll be like, Papa, we got to pray. I'm like, come on, man.
How old are they?
They're 3.
Okay.
And then we have Noah's about to be 9. And they're all like, man, they all love Jesus. Noah just asked me. He saw baptisms. And he was like, Dad. So what's up? I was like, baptized. I was like, do you know what it means? And he says, yeah, it means that, one, I admit that Jesus died for me and that he loves me and he gave his life and that I love Jesus. I was like, guess what? You're getting baptized next time we go. Sure, we're going down. But those wins are things that last a lifetime. When I'm already old, but when I'm older and my son is teaching his children,
right,
I get to look back. Or when I get to hand over this church to one of them. And I think I got a worship leader and a speaker and operations. I got the whole
you are creating that legacy.
Exactly. And so those have been like these amazing spiritual wins.
Yes.
Right? It's the fruit you get to eat, but I'm all about practicality also. I think that's why her husband, like, I always got 3 steps for people. Super simple to the point steps that aren't hyper spiritual. Some I don't even think this week had anything to do with anything spiritual. I was like, set some boundaries, dog. Like, chill. You know what I'm saying?
He loves it because he's like, I know how to apply this.
Yes.
Thanks for breaking it down.
And so some really great wins so I am very biblically based. Right? It wasn't to me, but it was for me. Right? And so I know that God's people are not of this world. We are different citizens. We should move different, be different, act different. Some people will say look different. I don't know. Like, I don't look too different. You know what I'm saying? So I really started asking myself, what does that look like in business? Right? Because the business world is janky. It is selfish. And there's this fine line between ambition and greed. And one thing YSC has produced, and YSC hasn't produced it, there's a lot drawn to it. Is last week, almost every day, I've had lunch or coffee with a business owner that's calling YSC home. And so I used to I've always got stuck, transparency in Acts 2:3, where they say that all the Christians sold everything and threw it in a pot.
It's 2:42, I think.
Come on, see, it's a church. Look, but everybody throws it in the pot. And I'm like, I'm not selling all my stuff. Like, I like my house. I'm not giving it up. Right? But you wonder, what is God saying in this moment? Like, it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? And it hit me. I was at lunch with one of these guys. And he's like, man, I'm just really just want to do business with like-minded people. I want to give a service and I want to help people and I want to like be able to donate services, but it takes business. And then I'm like, I like this light went off on my head. It's something that we're in the works of doing is creating a network and a strategic partner, if you will, with these businesses that will give honest services at a fair cost. But you know the person you're doing business with is vetted. They're part of a church. They're part of believers. They're not something. And what happens now is that a believer is helping a believer. A believer is saying, "Hey, I'm going to go with you because you are a believer. You may not be the cheapest, right? But I know that one, your customer service is going to be a approach. Your honor, the work you do is going to be good." And so what's happened is now the church is supporting local business and local commerce in a healthy way in building people. So we don't have to sell everything. We just have to support everyone.
Right.
And guy had given it to me, and I actually called a friend of mine. He goes, "Bro, do y'all want to like do like white pages?" I was like, "There's people even look at it." He goes, "But just think about it. If it's just something you have on your next steps, you have this book of like our local partners, and they know that they can call on these people and have real conversations. Think about the single mom who can't get her brakes fixed, and she calls one of your people, and they're like, 'Hey, don't worry about it. Come on in. Let's get you taken care of.'" He goes, "Imagine the difference." And he goes, like, and one of them was like, "My company is going to give 10% of every deal we do to the church." He goes, "So my company will tie to the church for it." And I was like,
Wow.
yeah. I was like, okay. And so now God has found another avenue because we are in an area that is impoverished, right? We're in a very low income area. So I'm going to have to teach financial literacy, right? Forget getting to the budget. We got to understand money. Like we're going to be at the very base thing of this thing. And so I can't have an expectation. They could want to get, so the most beautiful thing, somebody gave $1.50 to the church. And I called my wife and I just was in tears.
Wow.
And she was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, somebody gave everything they had to give. Don't nobody just give $1.50 because they got it. That was all they had. They looked and said, "What can I give? Because I want to give something." And they gave $1.50. And that reminds me of over 2 months that she gave from all she was. She gave because she believed in something. And so now, how can I help that person take that love and that heart for generosity and grow? Because there's her purpose is tied to that gift of giving. Because it takes to have that gift and that love of generosity to give from that place to give that, right? How is a church going to be able to come to them and teach them and grow them and help them? And so I've actually found one of my neighbors in our neighborhood, he ain't even a believer. He's a self-proclaimed atheist. I talk to this man every day at the bus stop. Greatest guy. He ain't believing in no Jesus, right? But he comes to me and I talk to him every day. He talks about church every day. He goes, "Hey man, do you know that? Like I'm a CFO-ish for an global engineer company." And he goes, "God, I like you." He goes, "I would love to come in and help teach financial literacy to your church. I will teach anybody. You just set it up, have it at your house. I'll come down and we'll do it every week. And I'll do it all for free to give back." And so God is going to be able to use this church, not just to build more heavenly people and no earthly good people, but people who are heavenly focused and earthly good. And help build their wealth and their generational wealth. Because the word of God says he doesn't want us begging for bread. Right? And that his promises is that we will prosper. Right? That's a promise. This isn't a prosperity gospel. I believe in the promise gospel. You got some promises in there. I'm believing all of them things. Right? And so we already are being able to see these things start to manifest and build this quickly, which is super uncommon in a church that's only 5 weeks old.
That's it.
And to be able to see now that I've been in this journey for 2 years and the church to manifest, like my vision, oh man, look, I'm like, I see that thing 10 years out. Let's go. But
And to think you didn't even want to do it.
No, like for real, like shoot. And they told me, a person told me one time, like, Donnell, if there's anything else you can do, please go do it. And they're like, no, I'm stuck, dog. And they're like, good, because it's gonna cost you, and it costs, and it does cost. The spiritual tax, but like part of like that in the fundraising aspect of church, I was able to fundraise my salary, so I am able to focus 110 on the church and building it and building people and pouring. I'm not the richest person in the world when it comes to money, but I'm one of the richest people when it comes to kingdom and the spirit world and fruit, as we say. I'm seeing people break chains of addiction. People have come to the church and they're now got 5 weeks sober. All right, that speaks volumes. I married a couple Friday. They came as a couple, living together, sleeping together, trying to have a baby together. They not married, doing all of these things they ain't got no business doing together. By the 4th interest party, they stopped sleeping together. So now then, a month and a half later, I married them. And now they came to me on one Sunday and said, hey, we know that our marriage is made for more and we want to get married now. Will you marry us? And so I was able to marry them. And so now they're married and now under God's like covenant and protection. And it's just, God, man. And those are all wins for me. Like they may not seem big to people, but from somebody that's taken so much and haven't had a family, like every time one of these things happen, I'm like, God, man, got to be a part. Mm-hmm. We got to like help facilitate that, man. And so, man, we went to dinner with the married couple, and our kids, our toddlers, are running around, and their older sons are playing with them, and they're all loved up, huggy-duggy. They've been praying together, and I'm like, man. And they're like, we just want to invite more people into our house and our space, and to share our journey. Yeah. And that's such a win because, and today, money and business is like. An easy. It used to be, you have a whole bunch of friends, right? Like you can get people all day long to be your friend, right? But it was hard to start a business. It was hard for your idea to take off and do this. And we're in a culture today where you can come up with you just get a camera and a thing. You can be a social media influencer, right? Just go. I told you, that's why I said, man, we should put that. Look, no, I can't put it. Hey, but I'll be like, Ozarka, hook us up. Like, you know, we gonna get a call from Ozarka, man. Listen, we're gonna call you the people's pastor. You just drink our water every time you use that. But people have become rich and famous by simple stuff in this day because of social media and all the things. And genuine, authentic relationships are almost obsolete. All I care about is likes. If they like my thing, then we're good. Or if they comment, give me some praise hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, we good with it. Like, that's what we've been amounted to in our personal relationships. And the one thing that is the greatest thing that we have, the most valuable thing. And for me, the biggest win is that we have authentic relationships. Yeah. So I got too many people to hang out with. Drive my wife crazy.
I love you've built a space where people can be open about their brokenness because we live in a society where people care about what people think. And speaking of social media, I'm like, yes, it's cool people are broadcasting their lives, but how much of it is real?
Oh, yeah, man, come on, man. There's the highlights. The highlights with a filter. I talked about that this weekend. Take them filters off, man. I said it this weekend, God cannot bless who you pretend to be. Take off the warm filter, the glittery, sparkly filter. Yes. And allow him to bless the brokenness. Allow people to come around the brokenness and help you heal. And there is the big win. And that's what we've kind of created at Your Story Church. And God has honored it in all the other kind of aspects. I mean, the win is like we're in A-Leaf, right? And the last time that I went to the A-Leaf ISD district office, they asked me never to step foot back onto the property. Not the last time, literally. The last time when I was younger, before Christ. Got it. The next time I went, they were giving me an award for everything the church was doing in the community. Like, they keep calling me to give me awards. And I'm like, I don't need this. I got these plaques in my office from them. And we're able to come and give. Where we're at, we meet. A lot of people don't know it's a performing arts elementary school. Okay. And so, this Friday, my team is going up, setting up all our lights. Well, we donated the lights to the school, but we're going to run them for them. So nobody break them while we try to use them. But we're going to set it up for the talent show. So how we do worship, they'll have all the lights and all the things for the talent show. And we're going to continue. We're adding a sound system, and we're investing. I'm working with the director of advanced education on a Made for More class that takes people who don't want to go the traditional route of college and go into welding or cosmetology, things that it's easy trades, that it's easy that you could build your own business.
What we need.
So, yes. And what happens is people just don't realize you can go into a trade and become your own boss a lot quicker.
Yes.
You just have to realize some things about yourself and some things about the way you need to work and the ethics you need to have. And you can do so. So I'm working with them on developing that curriculum for the school. So last time I'm there, can you please not come back? This time, can you get in here, please? We need your help. And so it's amazing what God can do. Like I said it probably 2 weeks ago, what he could do with a broken boy from the west side of Houston.
I'm just in awe of that full circle moment when you said that, like who you were as a kid, as a teenager, the things you were up to coming back full circle and then some, and the way you're giving back. Like, who'd have thought?
Not me.
Like when you were, what, 15? No, when was the first time you started getting in trouble?
Oh, I was like 11.
11.
I just started getting caught. I started getting caught when I was like 12, 13.
So, and to see, did you know when you were, the first time you got caught, that these people are gonna call you back and want to give you an award?
Man, so it's funny. An A-Leaf ISD officer one day, I was going to Elsick, and they searched my car and they found some weed, or marijuana, or the THC, whatever you call it this day.
Yeah.
It's got like 19 different names.
Yes.
But they found some, and they wanted to escort me off property, and the cop was like, "I'm gonna arrest you," and all this stuff. And I was like, "God." And so since we are a church in A-Leaf ISD is the police force that does our security. And this past Sunday, I get down from the stage on second service, and this cop isn't our normal cop. He's our normal cop left us for like Elevation pop-up church or something.
Sure.
Like that. She's gonna be back, but it's like a once in a time. Like he only comes once a year or something. I don't know. But he's visiting, and I get off stage, and he comes. He's in tears. He's like, "I'll be back next Sunday in regular clothes."
Oh.
He's like, "This is my church home."
Wow.
And he went on to tell me how he never works overtime. He doesn't need the money. He's retired HPD, just working for the district for extra money to have. Like he's like, and he goes, "Man, but God had me here because I needed to hear." And I'm preaching on. Here's the crazy part. I'm preaching on relationship goals. He's single. He ain't really like. He's just like, but the Holy Spirit is here, and he goes, "I have to be a part of this," and that's like for us is a big win. So.
And he knows your life story, right?
He doesn't. He knows. I purposely brought up prison second service so he would know.
Okay.
Right? Like I didn't do that first service, but I did bring it up just to like chunk that out there. Like, just in case he got some pride issues. Like know that. Like, but no, he came and told me he wants to serve the kids and like all this. Like, oh my gosh, where you want to serve at?
Me?
Yeah.
You put me on the spot. You know what? It's funny. I think about that a lot. I'm like, I think I would be such a good greeter.
There you go. See that first impression. I got you.
I think that's the right place for me because I love meeting people.
What about Jessica? Will be reaching out to you.
I'm just thinking how 12, 13, and how many times you've been in prison and jail, been arrested. You beat up a cop, you assaulted a cop, and now you have a police officer, and you brought one to tears and wanting to be a member of your spiritual family.
That's incredible.
Talk about
Wow.
I always think of the scripture. I can't remember where it is, but how God can do measuring more than you can ask or imagine. I don't think any writer could come up with that story.
No.
And it's too wild.
That's funny. I had somebody approach me about writing a book at the beginning of our launch. Yeah, she's like a coach, and she helps authors write and all the things. And I was like, one day we'll do it. But today we're still writing.
Yes,
we're still writing what God is doing. And one day maybe I'll stop and I'll write a book and be like, okay, this is the journey. This is like the point where God says, okay, I want you to write about everything up to this, and then you can relax. Right on
But not
saying
yet.
work. Yeah, exactly.
I can't think of, you're like the living embodiment transformation is possible.
Yeah.
I tell people
Redemption.
that I and it's not a pride thing. I say, hey, I'm just a living, breathing miracle. Like, and we all are.
Yeah.
It's just, do we recognize it, and then do we own it?
Mm.
Because perspective changes when you realize that the fact that you're living and breathing and living the life you're called to live is a miracle. You cherish it a little bit different, right? It sun's a little bit brighter, the air is a little bit crisp and fresher. You know, all the things, right? So, yeah.
I love that. I tell people all the time I'm a miracle.
See?
It's like Christina. She said it on our show too. She said, I am a miracle today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different. You know, the people that recognize it. You're right.
It is. So, what do I do?
So we're just gonna get to the moment in our podcast. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so captivated, and my brain is like, there's a lot to unpack.
I think I could
But it was
talk to
a
you all day.
Yeah, that was like a feast. That was literally a feast, and we got to come back for seconds another time. But this moment we have the attitude of gratitude, and we want to invite you to have the floor. Is there anybody or people that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh my gosh, man. Of course, my beautiful wife. I'd given up on marriage. Like, I thought I was going to be Paul. I wasn't going to be married. I was just going to do my thing for Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Jesus was like, nah, bro, you're going to get caught up. But my wife, man, if it wasn't for her, our entire team at YSC, all the people that's been with us from the beginning, this isn't about me. It isn't about what I've done or what God has used me to done, but what he's doing for all the people that are coming through the door. Right. That is the win, and I'm thankful for them. Because if it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't have purpose. And I'm grateful for it. And I'm thankful for Jesus. Shoot.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's who I'm in this season. I had a conversation with somebody today, and I was like, hey, organizational structure. What's that sound right coming out of my mouth? Organizational structure charts will be coming out, and and the person's response was, hey, are you good? Do you need help? Because my teams know my strengths, they know my weakness, they know I don't want to sit down and do an organizational structure chart, but it is my responsibility,
Yes.
right? But I'm thankful for a team like that that says, hey, you know what? Our pastor is lifting us up. The least we can do is turn around and lift him up so he can get, like, he's here with us. How can we get him up so he can pull us up and we can pull people up and we can grow? And so I'm just grateful for my team that does that.
I have one last question for you.
Mhm.
What do you hope listeners will take away with them today?
That God's not done yet. Ephesians 3:20 says that he wants to do, and let's say the Passion Translation says that he wants to do infinitely more when we can think, dream, conceive, or imagine. Here's the key. Because of his spirit at work in you. So I want you to know that, hey, you may be depressed, frustrated, angry. He's not done. He's empowered you. He's equipped you. Sometimes it's putting in some work. Sometimes it's connecting with some people. But he's not done.
Thank you so much once again.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here. It's an honor to be here.
Donnell, thank you for sharing your remarkable monomyth with us. From your darkest moments to the incredible work you're doing now, your story is a testament to the power of faith and transformation. We can't wait to see the chapters you continue to write, because as you said, your story isn't done yet.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us. Donnell's story is a good reminder that no matter where you've been, transformation is possible and your story matters. Thank you for joining us on the Monomyth Diaries. If this episode resonates with you or someone you know, we'd love for you to share it and spread the inspiration.
Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube to stay connected.
We'd appreciate it if you could take a moment and rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more people with stories of transformation and growth.
You can visit us at monomythdiaries.com or text us directly from the show notes to reach out and keep the conversations going.
Until next time, heroes, let's journey together through our monomyths.